as we go through the Realist platform. So what is Realist? Realist is one of our tax roll programs. What does tax roll program mean? It means that we have products that will allow you to pull all of the information on homeowners, and then that's going to give you one clean page where you can see the legal description, the legal bedrooms and bathrooms, square footage. And these tax roll programs are also used to create comparative market analysis, meaning price opinions when we're working directly with our seller or buyer. And Realist, as well as a lot of these tax roll programs, have amazing reports. So that's what I want to hyper emphasize. Realist has amazing reports, and it has a really awesome one that you can use to try to convert a for sale by owner so that you can have them list their property in the MLS. So I want to repeat that. I'm going to cover a really cool report that you guys get absolutely for free called the Market Trends Report, so that you can try to compare. Hey, if you list with me, here's the average sale price for homeowners that took a dive, allowing a listing agent to sell their property, a realtor, versus the average sales for a homeowner that sold a property on their own. So we're going to cover that and much, much more. But I want to say something, and I don't mean this negatively. I used to be Realist tech support years ago when I was in the MLS department. Whenever you guys called in to the MLS and needed help with Realist, I was the tech support. So why am I bringing that up? I know a great deal when it comes to Realist. And Realist is the most complicated tax roll program out of the box that you can use. So my main goal is to simplify making Realist just automatically run that comparative market analysis report as soon as you click on a property in the MLS, and how it can automatically right size reports for your customer so that if they're out of state, maybe they want to see the neighborhood, also see information based on the neighbors right next to the property that they want to buy. Maybe they want to see their tax information, bedrooms and bathrooms. Maybe they just want to see their name, right? Or maybe they're out of state and they want to see all of the available schools or amenities in the area. We're also going to cover reports. So again, the main focus of Realist is finding the reports that you can use for your customer. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways to access Realist within the dashboard. There's a button for Realist located right here. And if you're ever in the MLS, for example, Matrix, you're going to notice there's a little money sign on the very top of each listing. If you click on the money sign, that's going to put you into the tax record that Realist has compiled. This little button right here, the IMAP button, will put you in the IMAP property record. The information should be the same. It comes down to how the information is displayed and the different types of reports. So if I click on the money sign here, for example, on this unit, that's going to put me directly into the tax record and the MLS information because it's listed. I get the address, the MLSs. I'm going to be very clear. The agent, when they listed in the MLS, I have the bedrooms and bathrooms that they provided. I can see when the current owner originally purchased the property, including the sale price, square footage, the year that the property was built, and the owner's information, just like an IMAP. I have the owner's name. I can see if the owner's occupying the unit, which it should be because the tax billing address is the same as the property address. But this is where Realist kind of deviates a little bit from IMAP. We get a little bit more information for that buyer that wants to purchase the property. We're going to cover first the property details. So I'm going to come down to the community insights. Right here, I get an estimation on the price of homes in the middle of the zip code. So this is the median price of units, meaning the middle of the market for 33029. The average sale price for the middle of the market is 814,118. And they're 9 out of 10, meaning 90% sure that that is the price of homes. Again, the unit we're looking at before we do More hands-on searches. This unit's priced at 932,000. Okay, so I also get the lifestyle. It's in a family-friendly area. We get the walkable score as well. We also get the trends on how much the area is appreciated within the past 2 years. Again, this zip code 33029 has gone up by 28%. We also get the school district information on that subdivision, also meaning the name of the community, the school district, the MLS area number. I get that question all the time. How can I find the Broward County MLS listing area numbers? You get that right here. That's important when I'm listing a property in the MLS. I get the zip code, section, township range, just like IMAP. But as I go down, things are going to change a little bit. We get a little bit more information than what IMAP provides. I get the tax information, specifically the folio number, also the parcel ID of the unit. I also get to know how much of the land has an improvement, aka how much the land has a property. So 93% of the land includes the property. I have the tax area, meaning the tax district code from the Broward County appraiser. It also let me know if the unit is tax exempt through homestead exemption. Characteristics of the property, comparing the information from the county record versus the MLS. What do I mean by that? If I come down here real quick, we have total square footage, tax. According to the county, they say 2,843, but the MLS, meaning the agent, is saying 3,836. So again, it compares county record versus what's listed in the MLS. That is crucial information to know if I'm working directly with a buyer. I get the adjusted square footage, bedrooms, according to the taxes, meaning the legal bedrooms versus the what the agent's saying within the MLS. Very important. What would I do with this information? I would go directly into, we did this earlier, I can go directly into IMAP. Just going to pivot real quick to IMAP just to feature both tax roll programs because they complement each other so much. IMAP's going to let me know if that homeowner filed a permit in order to modify their property. So the only thing coming back is a lien on the property back in 2017. Again, I just pivoted over to IMAP. I don't see any permit requests to add that extra bedroom. So that's what's interesting there. But we're going to go back real quick. We're going to go right back into Realist, their record for this unit. We're going to keep going. All right. And here's what's really cool. As we go through the property information, as I continue to go directly into the property information, as I scroll down, I also get a sell score indicator. This only works if the property's off of the market. I'm going to cover sell score in just a little bit. This unit's active on the market, which is why it's coming back with no sell score. In a moment, we're going to jump into searching using Realist. Realist and Remind have an exclusive search where we can use a sell score. I think I have someone that needs to mute. Don't get mad, but I'm going to mute you real quick. All right. Okay. We're going to keep going. So in a moment, we're going to jump into a search in Realist. Realist and Remind has an exclusive search using what is called predictive analytics using AI. Right here, it's going to explain it, but I'm going to just explain it very quickly. If you search using a score of 131 or higher, it's going to filter and only show you properties in the top 5% that might sell. How does Remind and Realist come up with this calculation? Anything happening at county steps, such as a foreclosure, divorce, probate situation, or whenever we pick up our phone and then we go into Instagram and say, oh, moving soon, or we start searching for properties outside of our area. Remember, data brokers collect that information. AI picks up on that. And then homeowners with a very high score, those are going to be the top 5% of properties that might sell within the next year. So again, this is coming back with nothing because it's already on the market. Once we get into search, I'm going to explain how we can search for those type of properties that have a high sell score. Now, here's what's also really amazing about RPR. I get an estimation according to how much Realist believes that the property's worth. I'm not a big fan of estimation systems, but RPR and Realist are fairly accurate. What they do is they hyper focus on properties still for sale, anything that's under contract, and anything that's sold. So this unit right here is priced at 932. Pretty sure they modified the property where they added that extra bedroom. They're likely trying to make up for that extra bedroom that they installed within the property, which is why the sale price is off a little bit regarding the recommendation. But look at the range. It's letting me know that based on sales in the area as of May the 5th, it believes that the property could be worth anywhere from 836 up to 956, and Realist is 93% sure of that. And this little metric here is going to let me know if they're expecting a deviation in the market, meaning are we going to go from a seller's market to a balanced market or a buyer's market? There's only a 7% chance that this market type is going to change within the next year, meaning it's a fairly stable market when the number's low. Okay, here's also something we get for free, gratisimo, for free, rental trends. This, if I'm working with an investor, right? Maybe I'm working with a buyer out of New York that wants to maybe put an offer on this property at 932,000. I can give them an estimation on the rental trends in that market. So it's letting me know for zip code 33029, it's fairly confident that the rental price for this unit would be somewhere around 4,684 or as low as 4,202 or up to 5,166. Of course, assuming that unit has had a great deal of improvements. It's going to give me a cap rate as well. This is going to be based on how much the property is bringing in minus its expenses annually, and of course a deduction on insurance in the area, and not to mention the assessments and taxes in the area. So it's letting me know that the cap rate during a hold would be somewhere around 3.2%. So I don't usually cover this in this class, but I'm going to explain cap rates just in case you don't know what that is. One more time, it is how much that property brings in annually, meaning how much it's bringing in for rent annually, or any other ways that we're making money off of that property. For example, if we're charging for the laundry facilities, parking as well. You take the gross operating income of that property. Again, how much we're bringing in. We then deduct expenses such as taxes, insurance, capture taxes as well. A lot of folks don't know about recapture tax. I do cover that in the Working with Investor series. All right. And once you have the deductions, again, you subtract that to the gross operating income, how much you're bringing in. That's going to give you what is called a NOI, which is the net operating income. So the net operating income is, again, how much we're bringing in after expenses. And in order to calculate a cap rate, is you take that amount that we're bringing in annually after expenses, again, net operating income, and then you divide that figure by the purchase price. So again, this is the amount coming back automatically from Realist, giving us a cap rate of 3.2%. All right. Again, I break that down in greater detail in our Working with Investor series, and also if you guys want to take our commercial RPR class. Okay. As we go down, we get information from the listing agent and a history of all the times that the unit was listed in the MLS. Again, you get this for every single property. Property details is included for any property that you look up in Realist for what is on the market and whatever's not on the market. Okay. Further down, we also get more information based on deed history when the property is sold. Sold, I should say, according to the county record. That's going to let me know the sale date, when it was recorded, and also the owners that purchased. You're going to notice something very important. Sale date, recording date. When you're running your comps, use sale date. That's when everyone signed, meaning the buyer purchased the property versus when it was recorded directly to the county. That's very important. Look how different it is for this unit. In a moment, we're going to run a CMA on this property. But before we do that, though, I'm going to go ahead and show you some recommendations under settings where you can automatically right size any reports that you create for a customer. So we're going to treat this like we have a buyer that wants to purchase this unit. And then what we're going to do is before we even jump into running comparables, looking at some of the additional reports on the area, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys recommendations so that you can automatically right size your reports. Okay, so that's almost next. Real quick, there's also mortgage history on the property, including if they refinance the unit, and foreclosure history. If this property, again, not the owner, but if the property's ever gone through a foreclosure scenario, including lease pendants, and if it was ever bank owned in this section. We also get the ability to see the dimensions of the lot line of the unit. This is very important, especially if I have a buyer looking to purchase a property and they want to put maybe a boat. So, for example, the back end of the unit's roughly 59 feet, as we can see. All right, and we also get a beautiful little map letting us know where the unit is in that community. Okay, as I mentioned, one more time, Realist is one of the more complicated tax roll programs, but as long as you go into your settings, you can automate any report automatically in the Realist system. So that's the next thing that we're going to cover. I just wanted to cover real quick the property details on any property that you can look up in IMAP. It does not have to be listed. It could be off of the market just like any other tax roll program. Okay, so where we're going to go if you're following along, you're going to go into your dashboard and then we're going to click right here where you see Realist. Okay, this part is going to be hands-on, this next part. So as soon as you click on Realist, what this does is it takes you into your dashboard. But if you ever want to search, create maybe a CMA, look up a property that a buyer wants to purchase, or you want to farm and create maybe mailing labels so that you can create a flyer that you can send through the mail, that's going to be here under the search. First, we're going to cover real quick the dashboard. So the dashboard is entirely customizable where you can select the county where you, and then one second, guys. Sorry about that. All right, I'm back. Okay. So right here under the select county, what this does is it gives you an overview of your local markets, again, from the county level, not city or zip code level, based on how your area is performing within the past 90 days. You do have the ability to come in here and select multiple counties. So if you're a Broward agent, Miami-Dade agent, you could come in here and select multiple counties, as you can see. But there's a little notice that's going to show up. It's going to say in some counties, you're only going to be able to see off-market information, meaning information for that property that is coming from the county appraiser. Now, you're going to be able to look up listings using Realist within the markets that we cover. What market areas do we cover? I'm going to provide that real quick in the chat so everyone knows. Just bear with me a moment. Let me go ahead and pull up that MLS coverage area map. So listings available in the Realist platform typically are going to be the following counties from St. Lucie all the way down to Miami. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat so everyone has access to our coverage area map. Okay, and then I'm going to keep going, guys. All right. Let me go ahead and close these out real quick. Okay. So that's what that's mentioning here. So if you, for example, ever want to see listings outside of our area, maybe you have a buyer that wants to maybe buy in Orlando, right? Maybe they want to buy in the Monroe area and you want to find listings. Don't use Realist. Instead, jump into your dashboard. There's a couple of options here that you could take a look at. We have MLS Advantage available, as well as Realtor.com's professional search. Okay, I'm a data guy, so I just want to mention something real quick. MLS Advantage is Florida-wide, meaning I can find different associations throughout Florida that submit listings directly to MLS Advantage. Realtor.com's nationwide. So if you ever have a buyer that maybe wants to buy in New York, New Jersey, Texas, wherever it is that they want to buy, this is nationwide. It's not Realtor.com like you think. It is a product that they offer agents that includes advanced searches for real estate agents to find properties for a buyer anywhere in the United States. But again, I'm a data guy. I want to mention something real quick. I love MLS Advantage. It has a lot of amazing coverage areas. We're just going to pull up MLS Advantage real quick. It has a lot of amazing coverage areas, but MLS Advantage will not show you properties listed in the Monroe County area, also known as the Keys. You can find listings in the Keys using Realtor.com's professional search. If you're a Palm Beach agent, we could find all listings in Palm Beach, in Matrix, Realist. But there's a little island. There's a tiny little island next to Palm Beach called the Palm Beach Islands. Some agents know this. That little association, they're very exclusive, but their listings, they'll show up here under Realtor.com. I want to repeat that. People get this confused a little bit when I explain it, so I just want to be very clear. I don't mean Palm Beach County itself. You can find listings in Palm Beach using any of our platforms. I'm referring to a little luxury island, Palm Beach Islands. Their listings only show up under Realtor.com. Just wanted to explain that real quick. Okay, perfect. So we're going to keep going, guys. We're going to jump back into Realist, and I'm going to go ahead and just select Miami-Dade for this quick little sample. I am going to remove Broward. I'll just keep Miami-Dade. Click on Apply, and when I do that, it didn't change anything, which is why I had that little message. It will automatically give me trends for any property type, single family, condo, townhome. It's letting me know how the residential market's performing the past 90 days. It's letting us know that we're down 13% for Miami-Dade. We're looking at sales 2,147. It's letting me know of the sales, we have a total of 81 new construction sales that have been recorded directly through the county, not the MLS, county. Tax means county record. We are down for new construction sales at roughly around 24%. We have had some properties being sold again, also known as resales, 2,044 of those. Those also, when it comes to the average price, those have gone down also by 12%. For price, when it comes to new construction properties, we're down 11% currently with an average price, according to sales, within the tax record, $676,528. Again, remember, these are talking points. If you struggle with what to say on maybe Instagram, this is a beautiful little 30-second short that you can do based on your county. And then you can source the information that this is coming directly from Realist. The average resale price, according to the tax monthly, is, again, this is how many sold. This is the average price, $732,761 for properties that are resales. And then we get a calculation on the average sale price per square feet. Currently trending within the Miami-Dade area, average sale price is $446. All right, how do you calculate square feet? I just want to make sure I answer that real quick. Is you take the asking price. For example, the property that we're looking at is $932,000. Price per square feet is the asking price divided by the living square foot. Just wanted to explain that for you guys. Further down, we also get a beautiful little trend report looking at current month of February through March. This is going to batch the amount of sales that we've had each month with an average price. And then we have the changes in sale. This is going to give me a total amount from February through March of last year. Numerically, how many units are selling each month. All right, further down, this should work. I'm not sure why it's not working. Let me try to refresh it real quick. Oh, my Realist closed. Let me try to refresh that. So I could go back over the dashboard. Let me just do it from the gateway real quick. Been a little bit of an issue with browser today. There you go. Okay. So further down, right here, you have the property market insights. Sometimes Realist will provide us local posts based on behaviors that we're seeing in our market in the South Florida area. So, for example, we have a post coming from Realist saying, "Can open federal land fix the housing crisis?" Okay. And if you ever save properties in the Realist system, any of your saved properties, they're going to show up right here. How do you save properties? Whenever you're searching, when you're looking at the property, you're going to find a little star slowly but surely right here. That's going to save the property. And then you can find it in your My Save Properties located right here at the bottom of Realist or up here under the little star icon. Okay, perfect. Another thing I want to cover real quick is Inman. If you don't know, you have Inman included for free as a part of your member benefit. It's actually one of the top programs that we offer. What is Inman? Inman will provide you real estate news, also news based on associations as well, and trends happening in your local market. And it's also an archive, meaning you can go in there, look at all of their past articles that they've had. Again, for free. I just put a link for Inman in the chat so everyone has access to it. And you guys get the following reports for free: a hot sheet of our local market, afternoon headlines, including top stories happening within real estate, uh, specific information for luxury units and how to market properties that are luxury, breakdown of property portfolios for our local market, Agent Edge, meaning it's going to have a lot of great marketing pieces, information for brokers, extra credit, the Weekender, and the Commission Chronicles Digest as well. Again, included for free. I would say it is essential. It's going to let you know, not just real estate news in our local market, but Emin also likes to post if there's any rules and regulation changes from NAR also. For example, we experienced last summer, we had the buyer brokerage agreement come out. If there's anything like that that happens in the near future, Inman will let you know. Okay, perfect. So that's just a quick little rundown, guys, of the dashboard. What I want to cover next is how you can, when you're creating reports for a customer, how you can automatically automate the Realist system so that it automatically creates reports for you. Okay, so how do you do that? You would go right into search. And then over here in the top right corner, we have a little settings button right here. All right, so I'm going to provide you guys with a lot of recommendations, and this is going to simplify making the Realist system a lot easier to use. Okay, so again, we're going to click the little cogwheel here, and then that's going to put me into my search preferences. Okay, so first thing I want to go over is the navigation to report. So if you ever, for example, you're looking for properties, maybe you're trying to create mailing labels using the Realist system. If you turn this on and you only have one result that pops up in your search, it will take you directly to that property's record. And if you do decide to create mailers using Realist, this is absolutely essential. We want to make sure that if there's any property owners that have their home on the do not mail list, we want to be able to quickly identify those properties. Again, coming into these settings is essential to use this platform. Further down, sale transactions. I would recommend clicking this button, include unmatched sale transactions. Why do I say that? You want to make sure that you see the full pie of sales when you're running a search. If you do come here, you can automatically just tell the system to only find comparables within the past 6 months or up to 24 months when you run that CMA. And you have the ability to have up to 3,000 properties show up in each search that you do in Realist. I'm a big advocate of maximizing the use of the system, but something I got to tell you is if you do decide to create mailing labels, you get up to 5,000 properties a month using Realist. That resets at the very first of each month. Okay, so if you want to maximize and search in bulk, my recommendation is change this to 3,000. Once you're done locking in your settings, click on save, and then that's going to lock those modifications in. So as I mentioned, guys, we can create a CMA using the Realist system. I can create a market trends report for first sale by owner so I can compare if you list with me versus if you go by yourself. If I'm working directly with a buyer, maybe they're not familiar with the area and they want to know more information regarding their nearby neighbors. I'm going to show you under reports where you can just automatically show that customer that wants to buy the property just the surrounding neighbors there. The neighborhood profile report is great, again, for a buyer relocating, maybe out of state, out of country. They want to know all of the school options in the area. Maybe they want to know all of the amenities, the banks in the area, the restaurants in the area. We have the ability to create a neighborhood profile report. So this is where we're going to go next. We're going to go to reports so we can automatically tell the system to spit out what we want. Okay. So again, reports, we're going to go next into the report preferences. I would suggest to change this to dynamic. Again, report display format, dynamic. What that will do is if you ever provide your report electronically, maybe you email the report to your customer, they access it on their computer or on their phone. If there's a link in there, they're going to be able to click on it, which is what the dynamic does. It allows us to click on links in that report. Okay, further down, we have the section for CMAs. This is where I'm going to go over everything much, much slower. So under comparable reports, guys, if we run a CMA for a customer, we do not want to overwhelm that customer with 50 different comps. My recommendation is for the system to automatically provide the first 15, the best 15 that it finds, based on some additional prerequisites that I'm going to cover in just a moment. So again, my recommendation when you're creating a comp using Realist, especially if it's a condo, have it show the first 15. And then have those listings, once we click on the CMA button, have them automatically show up by their living building area square feet. That's going to show you the unit at the smallest to the biggest. And always include property images of the comparable units that we find. However, I suggest to turn this off where you see include value projected by assessment. If you turn this on, that's going to confuse your buyer. If you were with me earlier, you're going to remember that I mentioned assessed value is how much the property is worth according to its taxable value, not how much it's worth according to sales in the area. So if I turn this on, this button, it's going to show the assessable taxable value of the property. And if I have a seller that wants to overprice it, they're not going to be happy to see that price. Okay. The other thing is also include the projection when you create a CMA based on the value projected by the square footage value. And include this. This is up to you. You can get a second opinion on how much Realist believes that the property is worth if you turn this on. So if you create a CMA, Realist will create a real AVM, including how much they believe that the property is worth. If you do that, look at the report first. Make sure that the Realist AVM is kind of speaking the same language as how much the property is worth according to the comparables in the area. Okay, next one is pool. I would suggest to leave it at no preference. Again, this will tell the system how to automatically find comparables. If I'm looking at a property that doesn't have a pool, I click on with pool, save my settings. Every single search that I do, it will just find comparables with a pool or without a pool. I would only ever come here in the event I'm running a quick CMA on a property that doesn't have a pool or does have a pool. Otherwise, I would leave it at no preference. Again, if you do decide to change this on one research for a customer, come back here under settings and then switch it back to no preference. Okay. I also recommend looking for comparables that are within half of a mile from that subject property. Again, what we're doing is we're automating the Realist system to find things for us. Okay. I also suggest to widen the sale price. You never know what customer you might be helping. I would suggest to go as low as 200,000 up to 10 million. That way, if you're working maybe a luxury deal, you could pull comps up to the maximum that the system offers, which is 10 million. All right. Your bill, leave that alone unless you're doing a one-time CMA for new construction. Okay. That is pretty much almost it for this section. Anything else I would suggest to change is maybe the bathrooms, widen that from 1 to 10. Stories, leave that alone. But I do have a recommendation here for tax distress sales right here. All right, you're going to notice that I, by default, have my comparable filters set for exclude distress sales. Okay, why do I have that set up? You only want to include distressed properties. Distressed means that there is a homeowner that's behind on their mortgage payments, or yeah, there's a homeowner that's behind on their mortgage payments and then they sold the property. The reason why I say to exclude distressed sales, also known as short sales, is typically because those type of units sell less. And we saw one earlier in the other IMAP class we did this morning. Those typically sell less than a standard property that is not under distress. The only time you want to include REOs or short sales is if 30% or more of the properties in that market area are under distress. For example, short sales or REOs. Again, my suggestion is to exclude those unless we hit 30% of the units being short sales in the area that we're researching. Okay, my next, and I kind of mentioned this one earlier, have the comparables automatically sort by the sales date. Sales date is a lot more accurate than the recording date.
Mhm.
All right, further down, again, we're automating the CMA system. I would recommend having it automatically find comparables going back 3 months, kind of like what we did in IMAP. Again, anything that we save here will automatically be available on any comparable that we do for any customer. The other thing is go to your living building area and your lot size, kind of like what we did earlier. Look for units that are 20% bigger, like an appraiser, when you're running your CMA for both the living building area and then the lot size. So again, change these to percent difference, 20% for both the living and the lot area. All right, further down, that is going to be it for the comparable sections. We're going to now jump directly into the neighbors report. Now, if you do want to submit a neighbor report to your buyer, again, neighbors report is where I can show them the immediate neighbors right next to their property. I don't suggest overwhelming them with 30 different homeowners in that same subdivision. My recommendation is to show them 5 and then have the system automatically locate units within a quarter mile. If you do that, it should, when you click on the neighbors report before you submit it to the customer, it should show them the neighbors right there. And geographic boundaries, my recommendation is in that same exact complex subdivision. And then include property images if they are available for that customer. Again, I'm going to show you what this looks like on the front end. What we're doing right now is setting up these reports on the back end first. Okay, so that's the neighbors report. We have another report with a similar name called the Neighborhood Profile Report. This one is where I can show attractions in the area, banks, the financial institutions, also the schools in the area. So my recommendation is, again, this depends on the area. If it's Miami Beach, right, I want to be very, very close. I would go maybe 1 mile. If I'm looking at maybe someone that's purchasing property, maybe in Doral, Pembroke Pines, Homestead, areas that are, more wide, I would suggest to search within 4 miles of that subject property again, so that it automatically finds the different types of businesses there. And then I would suggest putting up to 15 right here per category. And then within that neighborhood profile report, we can select the type of businesses that show up. We have the attractions in the area for the buyer to see, the different automotive services, the financial institutions, restaurants, farm and ranch. Again, I turn that off. It depends on the buyer, but sometimes they don't want to see the nearby ranches in the area. If they're buying maybe in Homestead, that's good information to see, right? We can show them the government facilities, healthcare services, hospitality, the different types of organizations there, personal services such as maybe laundromat, maybe construction companies there, flooring companies, pet services, shopping, and travel. All right. Now, if you want to remove anything, all you have to do is just click on the different categories that you do not want to show up within that report. Okay. Next is the school section of that neighborhood profile report. I would suggest a good safe default is to have the system automatically go out 5 miles. This is going to allow us to include public, private schools, or both. My recommendation is both. Okay. And then we can select the school categories that shows up in that report. For example, preschool, elementary, middle, high, combined K through 12, college, adult education, special education, and then vocational school. I turned off adult education only for the situation that maybe you have a buyer, right, that don't have a situation where they have maybe some elderly individual that lives there. Again, this is going to show me the nearby adult facilities that is available, such as an adult daycare in the area. That's going to show up if I click on adult education. Again, know your buyer, right? So this is a good one to maybe turn off unless that's essential. Okay, the next one that we're going to cover real quick is the assessor map right here. This is going to let us know all of our parcel boundary lines in how we are essentially taxed according to the county assessor's map. Again, I'm going to show you what that looks like. You could turn this on if you want and then click on Save Changes. Now, by doing what I just showed you under reports, you have simplified your realist experience. Could you search for properties? Oh man, we got something loud. Sylvia, I got to mute you. I'm sorry. All right. Okay. So let me go back. We've simplified our experience once we start creating reports for a customer. And we've now made it easier to search in the Realist platform. Okay. So next, after we save our changes, you can include an email signature. This is essential if you want to email any of the reports directly to your customer. Again, we're going to come back here in just a little bit. You just keep it basic. Just put your first and last name, your brokerage, and then your telephone number. Again, my recommendation on these reports is yes, while yes, there's an email option, I would download it as a PDF and then email that from my professional email. That's just my opinion. Okay, perfect. Next is map. This deals directly with your map as you're searching in the Realist system. Let me just open up another Realist real quick. All right, if you turn this on, it's going to show the parcel boundaries of each property as you're searching through the map. Let me just zoom in real quick just to show you what I mean. Boom. That's what it adds. The parcel boundaries right there of each property. That's again, if you turn that on. Okay. Value map. This is something I'm going to show you guys in just a moment. Man, you get a lot of amazing reports for free within the Realist system. But if you ever want to have maybe a little bit more marketing, if you're working maybe with a for sale by owner or buyer, and you want to establish your incentive why that buyer should work directly with you, there's a little more extensive demographical information that you could pay for. But I'm going to show you what we get for free, and I'm going to show you also the premium neighborhood maps that we also get. Okay, so all right, what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show you how we've essentially automated the Realist system. So if I click on comparables, because I've set up settings in the cogwheel, it will automatically find units within half of a mile that are within a 20% size of my subject property that have sold within the past 3 months because I automated my settings. So here we are. It's going to include the unit that sold at the highest, the unit that it's coming back that sold at the lowest. It's going to give me the price of the unit there in the middle that's coming back. I also get the square footage, the price per square feet according to the adjusted square footage, the total market value. Again, that's how much the unit's worth according to its taxable assessable value. And if you guys remember something, if you were in my IMAP class earlier, I mentioned a value ratio. All of our tax rule programs has this. Okay. So if you weren't with me this morning, I just want to explain real quick what this is. Okay. So the closer a property sells to its assessable value, meaning if it sells close to a 0.95, it means that it sold close to its taxable assessable value. For example, right here, 719,000 versus the reality of how much it's worth according to the market. But not too big of a difference in this area. But for example, if it says something like 1.4 and then the assessable value says something like 650, again, that's how much it's worth according to its taxable assessable value. But in reality, it sold according to a buyer at 745,000. That's almost $100,000 difference. So we always want to pay attention to that assessable value. If it sells close to a 0.95 and there's a giant difference between the sale price versus the market value, it could indicate that the property needed some repairs. So always pay attention to the sale price versus the market value. Not too big of a difference here. But if it's larger and then the property's close to a 0.95, again, one more time, there could have been issues with that property. Okay, now further down, we have the two units that we located within the comparables. I mean, the three rather. The three right here are subject property. And then if I want, I can move over. That's going to show me when the property was recorded and sold. It's going to line them up automatically by the square footage and the sale date, the sale price, the adjusted square feet, price per adjusted square feet, and I get that assessable value. So for example, this one right here, 0.81, we would want to look at that property a little bit closer to figure out why it sold at such a low assessed value ratio. All right. Okay. Now, if you want to provide a report, the CMA report directly to your customer, you can do it a couple of different ways. You have the print button where you could do a quick print. What that does is it downloads this exact report as a PDF. Or if you want to maybe remove certain items from that CMA, you can click on customize, and I can include a little bit more than just the comparables coming back. If I want to include the property details, the fact that it is listed right now, I can include the photos. And if I want, I can include the neighbors report and the neighborhood profile report. Maybe if I'm working directly with the buyer, I can proceed and then customize and download everything. Okay. Now, I'm just curious real quick. We're going to come back here, but let me go ahead and click on this unit. I'm just curious why it sold at 0.81. Let me jump into its record real quick. Let's see. Let's go down. Yeah. The characteristics. I'm trying to find its trends. Okay. May have to pull the listing number and look it up through the MLS because you don't typically get remarks in this system. So let's go and do that real quick. A1. Yeah. Okay. Let me just jump into the list. I'm just curious why it sold for the price that it sold for. Click on it. Go down. Oh, it was remote. Oh, this might have been a flip. Hold on. Go to the property history. 515. Go down. Yeah, this was a fixer-upper. That's what we're seeing here. Back in September 9th, 580. And then looks like they did improvements once they relisted it. Yeah, oh man, they redid everything. Okay, so that's a flip. That's why it was. Here we are. It needed a great deal of some upgrades. Okay, just wanted to prove again the essential need of looking at that value ratio, guys. Okay, so we're going to keep going. Let me go ahead and go back real quick. Okay, so the next report that we're going to cover, guys, again, we automated the system. The next report after comparables is the market trends. This is where I want to slow down. Market trends is an amazing report that is essential should you door knock or contact for sale by owners. So if you're that type of agent that maybe uses services like RedX, or maybe you're an agent that just walks within your community, maybe you drive around in your community and then you see a for sale by owner sign, use this market trends report. What it does is it compares if you list with me versus if you go off by yourself. it compares listings versus for sale by owner sales. So market trends, you could pull this up on any property. It does not have to be on the market. And then it hyper focuses on the zip code. So it's letting me know the total amount of closed sales that it's trending at this time is 37 with an average sale price, according to the county record, at 789,000. There's a total of 214 active listings. It's going to give me a breakdown on the days on market. So if I'm working with that for sale by owner, I can let them know, hey, yeah, we should be able to get your property sold under 70 days. The average days on the market for your area is 65. I also get the average sale price right here per square feet. And if I'm working with that for sale by owner, I can let them know, hey, based on homeowners that are allowing agents to list their property, they're getting 97% of asking. But this is where it gets fun. This part right here is my favorite part. Average sale price average. We get metrics from MLS versus tax. So it's letting me know in the MLS for this zip code of 33029, the average sale price for homeowners that allowed a listing agent to list it was 842,294 versus if they go off by themselves, such as a for sale by owner, we were trending at 789,743. So again, MLS versus tax. Tax means there was not an agent involved that listed it. It was a connection of for sale by owner sales or directly from the developer. All right. Okay. So again, the next one is average sale to original list price. Again, this is going to show that for sale by owner, March, homeowners that listed their property got 97% of asking, February, 100%. And then same month prior, meaning March of 2024, 98.2% of asking. Okay. Further down, we get the average price per square feet from MLS versus tax, and then the number of sales from MLS versus tax. So we're going to come over to number of sales real quick. We can let that homeowner know. This is what's amazing about this is I can let them know how many homeowners allowed us to list their property versus how many off-market property owners try to list their property. So we'll always pay attention to the metrics. MLS is showing me as of March 37. Tax is showing me as of February 37. And then January, 19 sales without a real estate agent versus February's 30. So this is an area. So if I'm working with again, that for sale by owner, I can let them know, hey, your zip code is dominated by real estate agents. I'm just looking at trends in the area to off-market sales versus on-market. The numbers are dramatically different, as we can see. All right, further down, we get the change in sale activity. Again, that's going to be from March, should say, of last year through March now. That's going to compare the actual current month, meaning how many sales are according to the MLS that's selling each month from MLS versus tax. Again, market trends, guys. This is a beautiful report. It's just raw data that I can provide to that for sale by owner. But if you do decide to create this report, you need two. You need two of these reports where you have everything under MLS selected and then everything under tax selected. That way you can compare and contrast both the data sets. You would click on print, quick print. That's going to save the report directly as a PDF. All right. I used to get this question all the time when I used to be in the MLS department. How can I compare on market versus off market? This is going to be that report. Okay. We're going to keep going. All right. So again, because we automatically automated our reports, if I click on neighbors, what it's going to do is automatically give me the surrounding neighbors right next to that unit. Look at that. They're going to be literally, based on our settings, right there in front of that property. So it's going to include the subject property that we're looking up, the next neighbor, including the number, meaning the unit to the east, it looks like. If the photo is available, we can see it. The current owners, when they bought it, bedrooms and bathrooms, and then we can provide that directly to our customer. Again, this one's a little bit different than the market trends. Market trends is only a print to PDF. Neighbors, this report will allow me to print or email it directly from the system. Okay. Next up is neighborhood profile. report. Okay. This is the report that gives the demographical information on the area, the schools in the area, but there's some really cool insight that you guys get if you're farming for homeowners. I'm going to mention all of the benefits of this neighborhood profile report. Okay. So it's giving me the estimated population of the zip code, if they've gone up or down in population. They've gone down since 2010 at 6.6%. The density per mile of individuals that live there, the median age, the number of households in that zip code, the number of people per household, and then how many homes have children, which is almost all of them. Ooh, there's only about a 3,000 difference. We get a demographical report on the age groups, the gender information, marital status. This is where I want to slow down. I get housing information. This is not just great for a customer. This is great for me as an agent if I want to farm. I'm going to explain what I mean by that. It's going to give me the median home sale price of that zip code, the average construction when the properties were built there, turnover rate. So this is kind of low. 4.22% means that, and again, it kind of comes down to how you want to position it, but 4% is kind of low. What that means is agents that are listing their properties are getting it right. They're selling these properties. They're not expiring. The higher the percentage is, for example, I would say 9%, 10%, anything above that, it means that there's a lot of, and I say this nicely, a lot of agents not being able to successfully sell the property, meaning it's a good area for expired listing farming. This one, for this zip code, low. I wouldn't use this as an expired area. Define expired listings, I should say. This is also an amazing data set for a real estate agent when they're farming. It's going to show me the amount of units that are vacant, how many units are owned by the owner and they live there, and then how many units are used for rental within that area. Now, if the rented amount's high, if there's a high amount of rentals or a high amount of vacants, that means it's an investor market. Or if there's a lot of renters, it means that I can try to farm that area to try to convert those renters to buyers. Again, always come into the housing report here. You could pull this up for any zip code. This one has a high amount of home ownership. So I would only focus on running searches where the owners are occupying their properties to see if they want to sell it. If it's a high rental market, I would use the owner not occupied filter. I'm going to show you guys how to do that in a moment so we can try to target those renters to turn them into buyers. High amount of vacancy means there's a lot of investment opportunity in that area for a buyer. Okay. Perfect. Over here on the right, we get the fair market rents as well. Now, this is based on how much a voucher can cover for someone that is approved for Section 8. The data is not complete, though. You're going to notice we don't have anything for a studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, or a 4 bedroom. We're only getting how much a voucher for someone approved for Section 8. We're only getting that number for a 3 bedroom. Okay. Where can you get resources when it comes to assisting someone that's approved for Section 8? We covered this in the Matrix 401, so I'm going to kind of go over this kind of fast, but I am going to give you guys the link to where you can find it. I'm going to put this in the chat so everyone can find this real quick. Again, this is just bonus real quick, seeing as we're covering fair market rents. Okay, take advantage of the link I just put there. Okay, so this section is going on our website. It has a lot of great information. So if you're ever working with a landlord, right, and they want to make sure that their property is available for Section 8, meaning the government has to approve the property first for Section 8. If you didn't know that, this section is going to include the HUD fact sheet of what's going to be kind of reviewed of the property with the government. And then we also have what's going to be looked at by the government in that property in order for it to be inspected for fair market rents. And then right here, we have the ability to look up any county in the whole United States to see potentially how much a voucher can cover up to. Again, I said something very important, potentially can cover up to. There's some prerequisites for someone that is Section 8 in order to take advantage of a full voucher, including being employed. Okay. More information on Section 8. There's a video located right here that you guys have access to. And then you also have access to a sample of the assistant payment contract as well. Okay, so real quick, I just want to show you how you can look up the fair market rents. You would go right here, click here for FY 2025 FMRs. And as I mentioned, you can look up any state. So we're going to keep this Florida. Let's do Broward just for the sample. I'm going to next screen. And then here's where you could get that data. Realist isn't giving it to us. It's not really giving us all the data, but it's letting me know per zip code. Again, potentially how much a voucher could cover. Efficiency 33004 up to 1590, one bedroom 1740, two bedroom 2150, three bedroom 2970, and then a four bedroom 3610. If you didn't know about that, you're more than welcome to go into chat. I hope you found that resource essential. If you didn't know about that, you're more than welcome to let me know in the chat. I just want to know if we should cover that in this class. Okay, we're going to keep going. Now, the next thing, real quick, under the neighborhood profile report, I get the quality of life, the demographics of the type of owners that live there, and their trades that they do. We also get the workforce type, including blue collar versus white collar, the average household income of everyone that lives there, how they commute, the weather as well, education level of the individuals that live there, and a total amount based on the highest level that they've attended here. Okay, so that is a quick rundown of the neighborhood profile report. All right, we're going to keep going, guys. Next one is the assessor map. We're just going to click on that real quick. Again, what that does is it shows us in that neighborhood how we are essentially placed into different lot zones. Let me just zoom in real quick to make this easier. All right, and how we are essentially taxed, meaning our tax codes. Okay. All right, we're going to keep going. Now, if you want, you get some amazing reports absolutely for free. But if you want a little bit more information on the economics and demographics of the area or real estate trends, the behavior of the market in that area, or more school data, or more trends and forecasts of the area, you have some additional reports. They're $9.99, and what's great is you have the ability to customize them so that your information shows up in that report. Just a little bit more information for that customer to look at, including the ethnical breakdown, diversity breakdown. Let's go down real quick. More information on the school reports. It's essentially very similar to what we get, but the reports look a little bit more customer friendly, I would say, is the main takeaway. Okay, perfect. There's also, you can request for $9.99. You can download permit requests as well per property. However, if you guys took my IMAP class this morning, you do know that you can see permit history for free and IMAP located here under the city interaction section. So if the homeowner ever did any kind of permit modifications to the property, IMAP does include that for free. I always like to give you guys comparisons. All right, now, what we're going to go ahead and do next, we're going to end the searches today with going into the search menu. And what I want to show you guys is that exclusive search only available. Go ahead and close that out. Only available in the Realist system and also only available in Remind. I want to show you that sell score, meaning how you can find the top 5% of homeowners that might sell their property. So again, this works two different ways. If you want to contact the owner, means again, they're in the top 5% of the homeowners that might sell. And there's a higher likelihood of maybe getting the listing agreement. And the other side to this is if you're an investor or you're working with an investor, we can quickly identify and find the top 5% of homeowners that might sell that are off market. You have to remember, a lot of investors, they don't necessarily go into the MLS. They just search for homeowners and then simply cold call them, even the ones that are not for sale in an MLS. Okay, so we're going to go to search. And my recommendation, guys, when you're searching using Realist is to not use the quick search. but use the My search. My search will allow you to create your very own searches as you use the Realist platform. So we're going to go to My search, and under Safe Searches, you get for free some amazing out of the box search types. We have a general search. If you want to farm for homeowners that might sell, we get an amazing owner seller search. If you want to jump into Realist to find maybe properties for sale or for rent or sold, you have MLS search. And if you ever want to find distressed property owners, short sales, foreclosures, we have the distressed property search. Okay, for this sample, I'm going to go to owner seller search right here. And if you ever want to add more filters to search for your seller or buyer, go right here. Customize search will allow me to add additional fields. So, for example, we're going to add city to this search. I'm going to click on city. Let's also have the ability to include zip code. So I'm going to come on down here. I'm going to click on zip code. Let's also be able to search by the name of the community as well, subdivision. And let's also include that sell score. I'm going to show you how to use that sell score filter. Okay. But if you're following along and you're doing what I'm doing and it's not letting you click on sell score, it's because Realist will only allow you to incorporate the sell score search if you only select one county. So over here in the top left corner of the search menu, there's a little change county button. If you have, for example, maybe Miami-Dade selected as the county that you service, and then Broward or any other county, it's not going to let you run that search and then include sell score. Sell score only works if you have, again, one county selected. I just like to go over things as a troubleshooter. Okay, so we're going to keep the seller name, sell score, subdivision, and zip code. Okay, I'm going to click on apply, and I've added more filters to my search. And if I want to save this, I can save this search and then lock it in. I'm going to call this my sell score search. And if I typed in anything, for example, maybe I put something under owner name, if I fill out any of the fields, this little button here will allow me to save the search type with the values of whatever I typed in as I'm searching. So I'm going to click on sell score search. I'm going to save it, and any searches that I create, they show up right here under the save searches. Okay, so right here, you're going to see a little metric as you're searching. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, here's something I want to mention. This button right here is going to lock you out of searching using any other fields. Make sure that you click this button. That's going to unlock your filter. So if you're following along and you got stuck, click this little premium map button. That's going to unlock all of your additional filters further down. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's search this time around. Let's use a community. We're going to kind of piggyback off of a community we used that we've been kind of showing of this class and the previous class. We're going to focus on the Silver Lakes community, and we're going to find homeowners that might sell their properties within the next year, meaning they're not even listed right now. They might want to sell it. Okay. So we're going to use that subdivision filter right here that we added. And then I'm going to type in Silver Space Lakes. We're going to use that community. All right. Perfect. Excellent. Excellent. Now, here's what's interesting about some subdivisions. Some subdivisions have different governing bodies within that community. So you're going to notice that we have some sections showing up, as you can see. The right thing to do is to select, if you're going to go ahead and farm all of that community, go ahead and select all of the different names that shows up. I didn't do that one because that one should be all of the amenities there. So we're not going to select that one. All right. And then from there, I'm going to click on apply. And now I've essentially added the Silver Lakes community. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the units. Sell score, I find it to work very accurate if the unit is occupied by the owner. As to where if you put no, it's really hard to track those investment corporations or LLCs. I would suggest to use owner occupied when you use the sell score. Okay. Now this is where I want to slow down. We're going to locate the sell score filter because there's different ways to use it. You have an is option where you have to type the exact value that you want. You have an is between option or is greater than option. The legend on how to understand how to use it is located here under the premium maps. You would just switch it to the sell score. And then if you enter something such as 831 or higher, you're going to find the homes, again, in the top 5% that might sell within this next year. So if I use is greater than, I could put 831, and then the system will search at a minimum of an 831 sell score or higher. Or if I want to be a little bit more specific, I can use is between, where I could put a different value. For example, maybe 831 up to 900. Again, it's up to you how you want to use it. I'm going to use in this instance, let's do is greater than, and then we're going to go ahead and put in 900, meaning there's a high likelihood within the next year that they might sell. From there, I'm going to click on search, and the system will, if there is a unit available, it will automatically show me the units in that community with that high sell score. So I put a very specific metric. I put 900 or higher. So it automatically took me to the only result that it was able to find. Okay, so if you want to see the exact sell score, that's going to be located here under sell score indicator. This one's coming back with almost 1,943. So it's going to be in, again, in that top 5%. And then there's a 2.6 times higher likelihood than an average property that they might sell. Okay, I'm going to go back. I'm surprised I only got one to come back. So let's go ahead and let's tweak it a little bit. Let's go down to 831. See if I get a little bit more than there you go. Yes. Okay. So if I go down a little bit more, I get a lot of some additional units that might sell. Okay, but understand your indicators. Understand your indicators. Okay, anytime you've seen a green indicator here, it means it's already on the market for sale. All right, if I see this little red icon, it means that it's sold. There's some history of the unit selling. I can, of course, come here to sale date and see if it's a recent sale. It just means that there's some kind of history of that property selling in the MLS. Okay, recording date. These are old sales. Okay, meaning I should be able to target these homeowners to see if they want to sell it. There is one that did expire at some point, number 4. Let's see when that one expired. Okay, back in 2020. Yeah, 3. That was some time ago. Now, if the property's under distress, you'll see this little purple indicator letting you know that it is already a short sale where the homeowner's behind on their mortgage, as you can see. If you do want to create maybe a mailing list or export these homeowners, again, click the square at the top. That's going to select all of the units. You can go to export. Clicking on quick export will allow you to pick and choose what shows up in the CSV file. Or if you want to do a quick export where it just gives you the main information of the homeowner, you can. All right, cool. We're almost there. Okay, the last thing we're going to cover real quick is the mailing labels. Let me just move my zoom bar. If I go to labels, what I can go ahead and do is create maybe a mailing label that I can send through the mail to try to see if the owner wants to sell it. I would suggest to use mixed case if you do decide to create mailing labels, because if you use all caps, it's going to put their first and last name in all capital letters, and it may look like you're yelling at them. I would use mixed case. Okay. Always use tax billing address. Now, here's what's interesting. We did use owner occupied for the search that we did, which means that the tax billing address should be the same. But if I did the opposite, where I'm using owner occupied no in my search, I can use property address and then send a mailer to a renter. Just want to go over the differences between these two. Okay. I always want to show the current owner's name. I wouldn't suggest to create a custom label where I put something like resident. I don't personally open up mail if it doesn't say my name. So I would suggest show current owner. You can include foreign addresses if they're an absentee owner that maybe lives out of the country, or if there's maybe an owner that owns multiple units, we can eliminate duplicate labels. Okay. And as I mentioned, we got up to 5,000 reports per export, as you can see. Now, you do have the ability, for example, we do have 10 reports selected. If I only want maybe the first five, I could put in a metric. So, for example, if I only want the first five of the 10, I could put 1 through 5 and then create from there, guys. All right. So that's a quick little rundown of the export options. And how to use the cell score filter. Again, I want to focus on today's session, just going over a lot of the exclusive options within the Realist system, but more importantly, how you can simplify your user experience as you use the Realist system. It is absolutely essential that you come in here and then take advantage of right sizing your reports so that the system automatically searches and navigates creating those reports or that CMA for you. All right, guys, that is it. That is it for today for me. Tomorrow, though, I do have my Matrix series. Love to see you guys for the Matrix 101, 201 if you want to take that. And take a go ahead and have a look out for next month. There's going to be the Land Mastery class, and the Working with Investors series is coming back over Zoom. All right, guys, that is it. Please take advantage of that market trend report. It is essential when you're trying to work directly with the for sale by owner. Settings are important, so you right size your comparables. Again, thank you guys so much for your time. Hope you have a fantastic day. Don't worry about a recording. I have all of your emails. I will send you a copy by the end of today. Again, guys, thank you so much. Have a fantastic rest of your day. All right.